Hello there YouTube, it's Gojira Prime with another Transformers video review, and today we are going to be taking a look at Transformers Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus. Now this is, out of all the Ultra Magnus figures I have, and I do have 3 in total, probably my favorite. My other 2 Ultra Magnus figures I have are a G1 reissue Ultra Magnus and the Transformers Classics Ultra Magnus from many years ago. Now, the reason that this version of Ultra Magnus is my favorite is that unlike previous Ultra Magnus figures that came before it, it is not a white and blue repaint of Optimus Prime, but is in fact an entirely original mold, and it's an all-in-one figure. Now, what I mean by that is, with the original Ultra Magnus back in the 1980s, you had the white cab section, which was a repaint of Optimus Prime, which then combined with the trailer section here to form the larger robot, which was Ultra Magnus. With this figure, it's all in one. There is no separate figure that you have to alter slightly to fit with the trailer. This all fits in as one figure, which is really cool. Because in the cartoon, at least, when Ultra Magnus transformed, the trailer just merged in with everything. Sorry, the cab section just merged with the trailer to form the giant robot. With the classics Optimus Prime Ultra Magnus, we just got a white and blue cab section, which was just a straight-up repaint of the classics Optimus Prime. So this version of Ultra Magnus is really cool in the fact that it's not a repaint, it's not a retool, it's an all-new figure, and that it's all in one. So just to take you around the vehicle mode first, if you are familiar with Generation 1, which I think pretty much everyone is with Transformers, then you'll recognize this as being Ultra Magnus straight away in his truck car carrying mode. Now you have the white cab section up front, which does have some very nice silver detailing on the front. Blacked out windows, 6 blacked out plastic tires, and you can turn this thing a good amount on the front. You then have the trailer section itself with which to carry vehicles. Now you can fit a deluxe class vehicle into here. It is a bit of a struggle you struggle to get it through the back section here, which does open up like so. But you can get it the very much a Legends class or a very small deluxe class vehicle in there to sit in this section here. Aside from that, you do have the missile pods on the front, which can detach if you don't want to have them on there. And aside from that, there's not a lot whole else to Ultra Magnus's trailer or vehicle mode. It's got some very nice detailing on it, all molded in the colors that Ultra Magnus was in. And it is quite large as well. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just pause the video 1 second, and I'll get a couple of other figures just transformed into vehicle mode, just to give you an idea of his size comparison. Okay, so here is Ultra Magnus next to a modern deluxe class vehicle. Here we have Red Alert from the Siege line. As you can see, he's quite a bit bigger. If I just tilt the camera and just raise it a bit, there we go. So as you can see, he is, quite a lot bigger than a deluxe class vehicle, and here he is next to a Legends scale character, Brawn. As you can see, he is quite large. Now, just to demonstrate, you can get a deluxe class vehicle mode up the ramp quite easily, and it will fit in very nicely in to the trailer section. And obviously you can easily get Brawn in there as well. In fact, you could probably fit 2 Legends class vehicle figures in there if you wanted to. So, you know, if you do want to display him in vehicle mode with something in there, you can easily stick a Deluxe or a couple of Legends class figures in there with him. So vehicle mode, very, very nice. Very, very reminiscent of the original G1 Ultra Magnus from the 1980s. Yeah, really nice vehicle mode. I like it. So I'll just pause the video again and I'll get him transformed into his robot mode. Okay, so now we have Ultra Magnus all transformed into his robot mode. And this guy is a very, very good modern version of the original Ultra Magnus figure from the Generation 1 line. Now, it has to be stated, this particular version of Ultra Magnus is based more on his IDW incarnation from the previous IDW line of comics, but it's still a really, really good Ultra Magnus figure. And like I said, it's all in one. There's no small robot mode with this. Well, that technically is a lie, actually. There is a small robot mode. You get the little Minimus Ambus figure, I think it's pronounced. I don't have that with this guy. The figure, that little figure is somewhere. But where you store that guy is basically, if you open up his chest, you can see here the truck mode, or the cab section for the trailer. And if I can get this guy to open up properly, the Minimus Ambus figure sits in this cockpit section here. Now, with IDW's Ultra Magnus, everything you see here was the armor, and then Minimus Ambus controlled it all from inside that chest section. But, you know, for me, this is just like, you know, this is G1 Ultra Magnus, as he was meant to be in the original cartoon series. I really do like all the details on the figure. You've got this nice armored look on the chest. The hands, you do get some fingers opening up to hold his weapon, and again, unfortunately, I don't have his weapon to hand. It's in storage somewhere. I just don't know where. I'd love to get a proper, like a handheld laser rifle or something for this guy, and I think I will do at some point. I just have to find one that I like. The rocket pods go on the shoulder pads, as with the original figure, and then obviously you've got these smokestack things poking up from here as well. Now, there are a couple of new versions of Ultra Magnus available as part of the Siege and the upcoming Kingdom line, and they have reverted to the old tradition of having a smaller robot, which then is attached to the trailer sections to form the armor to form Ultra Magnus. Now, I'm really, really happy with this particular figure of Ultra Magnus. I really like the look. I like the vehicle mode. So I'm not going to bother getting either of those versions because I only need one Ultra Magnus. And this Ultra Magnus ticks all the boxes for me in regard to G1 nostalgia and, you know, the vehicle mode and the robot mode. Now, in its robot mode, the articulation is really, really good. The head does have some movement to it here, going side to side, but it will not look up and down. Well, you can get it to look up and down, but you end up with a hole there, really. Arms move at the elbow. You got movement at the shoulder and elbow. Sorry, there is no hand articulation, but you can open it up to hold the weapon. Leg articulation, legs do go all the way forward, or some way back, but not all the way back, and then you do get a nice bend at the knee as well. So just to do some size comparisons with the guy, here he is next to Titans Returns Bumblebee. And as you can clearly see, he towers above Bumblebee. Here he is next to Generation Select's Tire Tracks. And again, towers above him. Here he is next to Kingdom Cyclonus. Now, in the original G1 cartoon, these guys faced off against each other on quite a few occasions and even ended up teaming up with each other. So it's quite nice to have a more, a larger Cyclonus figure, because obviously I used to just have my Deluxe Universe Cyclonus, but now I've got this Voyager class, which is a bit more sizable. But in the cartoon, these guys were actually about the same height. So if they ever release a leader class Cyclonus, that would be very nice as well. Here he is next to Power of the Primes Rodimus Prime in full combined mode with his trailer. And as you can see, if I just move the camera back a little bit, they are roughly the same height. Rodimus is a bit taller head-wise, but with his shoulder stacks, Ultra Magnus does have a height advantage. And then through the magic of camera trickery, here he is next to the same Rodimus Prime in his Voyager sized figure. Now, I do also have the Studio Series Hot Rod figure coming, hopefully at some point in the future. But as you can see, this is a Voyager scale figure, and the Studio Series Hot Rod is going to be even shorter than this guy. I think he's probably going to come to about here height-wise. So he is going to be even smaller than this guy. But I'm quite happy with this scaling for Rodimus and Ultra Magnus. I think that's a fairly good height for them. And then last but not least, and why the hell not, here he is next to Transformers Earthrise Optimus Prime. So, is the Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus still worth getting? Well, if you can get one, then I'd definitely say, go ahead and get the figure, especially if you're looking for an Ultra Magnus figure that doesn't involve having to use a smaller robot combining with a trailer. That, for me, is the real selling point of this figure, because you don't have to do any of that. However, there are two new Ultra Magnus figures on the market. You've got the Siege version, which has been out for over a year now, and obviously we have the Kingdom version coming out fairly soon, and that's looks like a fairly good Ultra Magnus figure in its own right. And I'm not going to knock it because I haven't got one, and I won't be getting one anyway, like I said. So, if you are just wanting an Ultra Magnus figure, that's an all-in-one, or if you're a big fan of the IDW version of Ultra Magnus, then this is the figure for you. So I hope you liked the video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, comment below, and thank you very much.